Welcome to Africa Good Morning. I am Aina Kweyo. On this show, we keep you abreast with the latest happenings across the continent and beyond every weekday morning. In today's broadcast, 26 gang members receive life plus 67 years for brutally killing cop. U.S. to provide another $424 million in Sudan aid. And AfDB has invested $3.5 billion in Mozambique. You can follow all our programs on our website, which is called oneupto.com. You can also watch it on DSTV 285 and GoTV 25 in Namibia. Later on the show, we do cross over to Zimbabwe, where talent Gore is going to give us an update on the news on the ground. We will be right back. Stick around.
Entries are now open for the second round of Republicane's Bridal Couple of the Year competition. Couples married between 1 June and 31 August have until 30 September of this year to enter the second round of the competition. Another one of the top 10 couples will be chosen from this pool to participate in the final, taking place in May 2025. To better your chance of reaching the final, enter now. To enter, simply WhatsApp #bridal2025 to 085 785 6231 and follow the on-screen instructions or scan this QR code.
Now, in our top stories, a member of a 26 gang was described in court as trigger-happy and bloodthirsty before receiving a hefty sentence for the murder of a police officer in Eastern Cape. 26-year-old Andile Nyoka murdered police officer Mario Angelique Nel, 42, with his firearm and then proceeded to take hostages before a shootout with police saw him subdued. National Prosecuting Authority Regional Spokesperson Luxolo Charlie explained that on the 3rd of May 2023, Sergeant Nell was on duty in full uniform when Nyoka attacked him from behind, grabbing his service pistol. A struggle ensued, resulting in Sergeant Nell being shot in the head. Nyoka fled with the firearm, then hijacked a Toyota Quantum taxi on Sisulu Street, NU29 Motherwell, at approximately 10:20 a.m. Now, Judge Fungile Dotwan described Nyoka as trigger-happy and bloodthirsty. Moving over to our next story, the United States will give a further $424 million in humanitarian help to the people of Sudan. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Linda Thomas-Greenfield announced on Wednesday. War erupted in mid-April last year from a power struggle between Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces ahead of a planned transition to civilian rule. More than 25 million Sudanese face acute hunger. Many are in famine and some 11 million have fled their homes in what has become the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet, said Ambassador Thomas Greenfield. We move over to our next story, where the African Development Bank disbursed over the last 47 years about $3.5 billion in Mozambique, which was invested in 115 projects, according to Prime Minister Adriano Melane, who was speaking on Monday at a ceremony marking the 60th anniversary of the creation of the AfDB. These sums were invested in agriculture, transport, energy, and water sanitation. Part of his amount contributed to improving the living conditions of Mozambican population. It also helped to modernize the Nacala corridor, improving logistics and connectivity internally, as well as strengthening the country's competitive position, he claimed. Melaine said the Bank of Mozambique acknowledges and praises the role of the AfDB in economic and social development since the country joined that financial institution in 1977. Moving over to our next story, Ghana is set to undergo a nationwide lockdown on Monday, 30th of September, as civil servants and labor union escalate their campaign against illegal mining, widely known as galamsey. The environmental devastation caused by unregulated operation has triggered growing demands for urgent government intervention, including a state of emergency in mining areas and cancellation of mining licenses. Recent reports from Ghana Water Company Limited highlight the gravity of the situation, with severe water shortages resulting from the contamination of key water sources. According to the GWCL, 60% of the country's major water bodies have been polluted, and water treatment systems are being overwhelmed by turbidity levels, which have skyrocketed to an average 14,000 NTU, far exceeding the capacity of 2,000 NTU. And then we now cross over to Eswatini, where the main opposition leader has been poisoned as part of an assassination attempt, and he is being treated in hospital. His party says. Mlungi Mkanya, who's 46, has been living in exile in neighboring South Africa for the last 2 years, saying he fears for his life at home following a violent crackdown on pro-democracy activists in Africa's last remaining absolute monarchy. Our president has been stabilized, but he is still in the critical condition, the People United Democratic Movement said. Eswatini spokesman Alphonse Umalo denied state involvement, saying the government does not kill or poison suspects. After the break, we return with news from Zimbabwe, courtesy of Talent Gore.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there.
Let's cross over to the House of Stone and hear from Talent Gore. Talent, Mamkase.
Mamkase Africa.
No, I am very well. I don't know how to respond in Shona. But Talent, can you please walk us through your story of Uganda Airlines, which starts flying to Zimbabwe?
Yes, Uganda Airlines has started flying the Harare-Etembe route following the growth in airport transport demand between the two countries in a move aimed at boosting the economic and tourism sectors between the two countries. It is also expected that frequent flights between the two destinations will also stimulate bilateral trade. Although it's the immediate target route for the Ugandan airlines, the airline also intends to service the Entebbe Lusaka Bulawayo route and also the Entebbe Lusaka Victoria Falls route. Apparently, this comes at a time that President Emerson Mnangagwa and Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has signed quite a number of bilateral agreements in which the two countries are going to be exchanging a number of things, and you find the Ugandan Airlines is the first of such a cooperation between the two countries, between Uganda and Zimbabwe, and more cooperations are going to come on board.
All right, so we love beneficial bilateral agreements. Sticking with President Mnangagwa, talk to us about how he handed over 100 vehicles to chiefs. What type of chiefs are these?
So these are traditional chiefs. So they were handed, yesterday President Emerson Mnangagwa handed over 90 vehicles. And this is the second time that he has given chiefs vehicles. In February this year, he handed out 100 vehicles. So the total number of vehicles that have been given to chiefs so far since the start of the year have gone to 190. So President Emerson Mnangagwa, he gave out Isuzu D-Max double vehicles to the chiefs, and he said that the president defended this and said that the chiefs needed the vehicles for their day-to-day activities, for them to conduct their businesses and their duties efficiently. Apparently, he's supposed to give them 300 vehicles because there are 300 chiefs. So right now, only 190 have been given vehicles. As time progresses, more and more chiefs are going to get new cars. So you find out that chiefs always have new cars. They're given new cars after every 5 years. And President Emerson Mnangagwa defended this, saying that this provides chiefs with vehicles which will enable them to actually conduct their businesses efficiently. But the citizens are saying that we feel like this is a missed priority because right now Zimbabwe is battling drought, which has been induced by the El Nino. So that money, the money which they used for the vehicles, had to buy food stuff for those who are actually struggling, because more than 7 million people in Zimbabwe right now, they are facing drought. So the citizens are not happy. They're saying that this is a misplaced priority as we need that money for something more urgent.
All right. I just want to say what a time to be a chief in Zimbabwe. Talenberg, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
You are most definitely welcome as well. Now let's have a look at the weather predictions from Southern Africa. In our economic news this morning, the U.S. Department of State has approved a potential sale of 720 Stinger missiles to Egypt, valued at $740 million. The Pentagon announced on Tuesday. These missiles, in high demand due to their effectiveness in Ukraine against Russian air assaults, have also been sought by European nations concerned about potential threats rockets from Russia, Reuters reported. In Egypt, the Stinger missiles would be mounted on vehicles equipped with the Avenger launcher system rather than being deployed as shoulder-fired weapons. The Pentagon stated that the RTX Corp will be the principal contractor for sale. Earlier this summer, several NATO members placed a $700 million order for the Stinger missiles, extending the production line backlog through 2029. And now moving over to Rwanda, the Eastern African stock market are pursuing additional revenue-raising prospects in data vending business to cushion against a faltering trading income linked to declining equity market performances across the region. Rwanda Stock Exchange is the latest entrant into the business that the regional exchanges are viewing as an important source of revenue in turning around their financial fortunes, battered by declining share trading activities and shrinking proposals for rights issue and initial public offerings. Typically, in exchange, we have sources of revenues such as trading income, listing, and so on, but we only have started also doing some bit of data vending and other few things that can generate more revenue, but we are remaining focused on new products. Coming to the market, RSE Chief Executive Celestine Rabukuba said in an interview, adding that the exchange is struggling to attract new companies to list, and that last year and this year it is yet to receive any list proposals. Now let's have a look at our economic indicators. Let's cross over to the world of sports, courtesy of Sports Rep and Ari Hogad.
Everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. It is from the League Cup, that is English soccer teams in different leagues that play in this, similar to the FA Cup, and it's a knockout league. And third round games that was played, Manchester City, they beat Watford by 2-1, and a goal scored there by Jeremy Daku in the 5th minute, and also Matthias Nunes in the 38th minute for Manchester City. They threw 2-1 to the round of 16. Coach Pep Guardiola not too happy with the busy schedule. It's not only League Cup games, there's also Champions League Cup and English Premier League and FA Cup leagues, so it's a busy time for all the teams, and he actually indicated they're not going to lose energy on the next rounds. Big statement made by Pep Guardiola. He said for the next game he's going to have his second team playing, because there's weekend to weekend English Premier League and in between all these league games. So that is a bit of a controversial statement by Coach Pep Guardiola. Other results from the third round in the League Cup, it is Chelsea that beat Borough by 5-0. Then also Leicester, that's through, they beat Walsall on penalties. It was 0-0, and then 3-0 on penalties for Leicester. And then Aston Villa they beat Wickham by 2-1. That was an away game. Also still Arsenal and Liverpool also still need to play midweek games on Wednesday. Arsenal play against Bolton and Liverpool they're up against West Ham. On to tennis news. It is Davis Cup men's tennis that will continue in November again. There's 8 teams left in the competition quarterfinals in November. News from the Spain team is that Rafael Nadal, he's 38 years old, he's been included in their squad to play on the 19th of November against the Netherlands in one of the quarterfinals. Obviously also Carlos Alcaraz, the highest seed player of Spain, in that squad. Other matchups in the round of 8, or the 8 teams that's left, is Italy that will play against Argentina, and Italy defending champions, and they also have the world number 1 Yannick Sinner in their team. Then USA versus Australia and Germany against Canada. Also closing off today's international sports news with rugby news. It is Rugby Championship that will come to a conclusion this coming Saturday. 2 games played. It is the Springboks that will host Argentina in Nelspruit, and then it is also the All Blacks that will host Australia in a Bledisloe Cup game. All to play for in Nelspruit or in Mbombela. That is the Springboks. If they win the game, then they will win the title. It is Argentina that can also still win the tournament. If they beat the Springboks, score a bonus point for tries, and then also deny South Africa any bonus points, then Argentina can win the title. So all to play for in Mbombela. And team news there is that Rassie Erasmus, the coach, decided to keep Mani Libbok on number 10, or he will start at number 10 in the game, and then Andre Pollard will be on one of the reserves. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
And now let's get into the highlights from today's broadcast. 26 gang member receives life plus 67 years for brutally killing cop. US to provide another $424 million in Sudan aid. AfDB has invested $3.5 billion in Mozambique. Nationwide lockdown looms as Ghana battles illegal mining crisis. Eswatini opposition leader poisoned in South Africa. US approves potential sales of $740 million Stinger missiles to Egypt. And with that, we've come to the end of today's broadcast. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.